pleasure to be in front of all my friends, quiz family, the extended chosen family, as well as the attendees that are willing to learn about the quiz audit tool, about SAM, SharePoint Advanced Management, as well as Copilot. So a bit housekeeping. I do have a French accent because I do live in Brussels, Belgium, which a part of Canada is also, French, where quiz headquarters are. So if you have some problems with my English, well, Peter Baddeley will be your moderator and will be in this webinar. He's from the UK, so he can make the translation. As you see on the screen, I do make some jokes. They're not always funny, but I'll try to do my best and try to keep it interactive as possible in order to maintain you for the coming 40-45 minutes. Now, before we get in deep dive in our demos, I have a few slides because I like to introduce you into Copilot, what Copilot really can do, and why SharePoint Advanced Management or Quiz Audit is fundamental to use, comprehend, and get results from it. We have multiple AIs today that anyone can definitely use. Predictive AI, generative AI or Gen AI, conversational AI, those are the main three pillars that anyone can use. To make it very brief, generative AI creates new content useful for marketing, design, or for entertainment. Conversational AI enhances business interactions through chatbots and virtual assistants. And finally, predictive AI anticipates future outcomes based on data, helping businesses make data-driven decisions. Today, we all use them somehow. Some is using ChatGPT, some is using Copilot, some is using even tools outside of the Microsoft ecosystem to get insights from AI. To make it very simple, predictive AI predict things, generative AI generate things, and conversational AI improve things. Today, Copilot is mainly about generative AI, where we will be using that capability in order to get insights from our Copilot. Now, when you look to the M365 ecosystem, from SharePoint to Teams to Power Platform, we have a lot of AI capabilities today. Copilot in M365, Teams, Outlook, Word, PowerPoint, OneDrive, Loop, and so on. In SharePoint, we have SharePoint Premium and yet another AI capability for structured document processing or unstructured document processing, OCR, image tagging, taxonomy tagging, and so on. We have Teams Premium, Copilot into Power Platform. All those are using the fundamentals of Copilot Generative AI in order to bring you all those new artifacts in your collaboration aspect. Now, we have multiple Copilots that mainly in organization will use the Copilot for M365, $30 per user per month. You also have, like, for individuals on the left side of the screen, which you get Copilot for free, as well as the Copilot Pro for $20. So you can see, yes, we can have Copilot experience for free, but you will never get the interaction that you have within Excel, within Word, in Teams, or even the graph data will not be into the free version or within the Copilot Pro. You'll have to go for the Copilot for M365. That being said, the Copilot today is all about large language models, plus your data from graph, plus the applications on top of it, like Teams, like OneDrive, like SharePoint. They announced it recently, a couple of days ago. We will have SharePoint custom Copilot agents where we can build our Copilots within SharePoint as well as the web. So we can also go and grab information from the web and bring that into our collaboration stack. Microsoft remains committed with Copilot. No matter which prompt you use to get your insight about your data, it's always about security, compliance, and privacy. On your tenant level, on group level, as well as on individual level. Microsoft is also fully committed to bring you the responsible AI on top of the security, compliance, and privacy to make sure that you always get the most reliable, most privacy and secure, most inclusive, most transparent, as well as most accountable responses from the LLM. Now, we have a bunch of tools, as I mentioned, right? Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and I'm going to show you in a couple of minutes how they work within the Copilot experience. But we also have the cross-app experience, where you actually within your login.microsoft.online.com screen can actually go and talk and ask questions to Copilot. And I'm going to show that in a couple of seconds to you. But how does Copilot work for those who have never seen this in action? Remember, 3 key pillars: the apps, the graph, and the large language model. Now, Gokan goes and asks for a question. That's what we call prompting. And today you have a lot of people going on sessions, going in industries about prompt engineering. There is a real job today teaching employees, teaching customers, teaching suppliers on how to actually go for a correct prompting. So I am going from Word, Excel, Teams, OneDrive, or PowerPoint. I use a prompt, and that will go straight forward to Copilot. The next step is, well, Copilot will take that and will go to the graph. And that's what we call the pre-processing grounding. It will check for the user's sentiment. If I'm frustrated, am I angry? Am I using the correct words? Do I have some blocked words? Right? In your tenant, you can always have some blocked words that you don't want people to use. After that check, after that pre-ground processing, well, it will go back to the large language model and then generate and get its answers back, right? But then instead of going straight forward to myself, because I'm the one asking the questions, well, now it goes to the post-processing grounding. Now it will check for additional grounding and translation of commands. It will check if there is no harmful return, no harmful responses coming from the LLM. And if that passes, well, the last step would be, okay, now you get actually your response. And this is all the flow on how the Copilot experience is looking like. You have 6 steps: from the apps to Copilot, from Copilot to pre-processing, then you go to the large language model, you get the response. That's what we call the post-processing, and then only you will get the response back to your M365 apps. All the details are mentioned here on the right side. You will definitely get the slides, or you can freely take a screenshot of this and just learn how the Copilot experience is looking like from a technical perspective. Now, how does Microsoft 365 Copilot protect your data? This is one of the most important slides that everyone should be known as a C-level. Microsoft 365 Copilot, well, Copilot will only display data to your users who has the permissions to. So you will never see any data which you don't belong to. So don't think that Copilot will go to any data or every data and bring that response to you. No, you will only see files, you will only see data, documents where you have access to. And that data is only into your tenant. It's not somewhere else, it's not somebody else's tenant, it's your tenant. Microsoft's commitments about the data protection is each data, each prompt, each anything we have is logically isolated, encrypted, and processed in memory by the services and never stored outside of the logical boundaries of our tenants. It respects all the rules such as GDPR for European ones or any other compliance details that you might have for your organization. All of that are the ground rules of Microsoft for Copilot, which will help you reply back in any questions you might have for legal or for security reasons and so on. And Copilot only for M365? No. Copilot is the next big thing at Microsoft, and you have a lot of Copilots available today for Dynamics, for Fabric, for SharePoint, as I said, it's coming to, for security, for GitHub, for Power Platform, for Windows, for Edge, and so on and so on. So Copilot is playing a huge role within the Microsoft ecosystem. Now that we know what Copilot can do, prompting, getting answers, in which tools you get them, how do we prepare? And that's a few slides more, and then we'll deep dive into the demo. Like, how do we prepare as an organization, and what are the tips I can give you in order to get the most of it? Well, first things first, you always have to have a Copilot adoption program as well as a center of excellence. All communications, education, pages, how-tos, technical knowledge, the Copilot experiences should be actually into that site. How do you interact with your Copilots? Maybe a prompt knowledge base. Maybe there is a prompt that you want everyone be using in an organization. How do I include sensitive data in my prompt? And so on and so on. How can I go into my Copilot? How can I get answers from Copilot? Everything that you have in your mind should be actually into that program. Have your champions, definitely have your champions to help you. But that's more an adoption session slide. But that's really first things first that you should have for Copilot. Then a few technical. For those who are admins here, well, you have some technical needs. The user needs to be a Microsoft Entra ID account, so Azure Active Directory. So you need to have a cloud account in order to use Copilot. You'll need to deploy M365 Office apps, as well as enable third-party cookies for Microsoft 365 online app experiences. One thing very, very, very important is number 4. Microsoft 365 update channel set to current channel or monthly enterprise channel. I'd like to take a couple of minutes to explain you why this is extremely important. Many big players, many big customers, suppliers, vendors, well, they don't like that idea. Why? Today, and I'm going only for European because I'm based in Europe, many large organizations, well, they still use legacy applications, they still use Excel spreadsheets, they still use macros, they still use outdated systems because it's like that. You can't change everything to the modern era in just one click. By changing the update channel from a yearly update, and what does that mean? Basically, take the example that you have an Excel spreadsheet and macros are running on it. If you have this on a yearly update, well, your system is stable. It will not change for at least a year. It will be the same, so less service interruption. But if you change this for the monthly enterprise channel, well, this will get an update every month. What does that mean? Well, technically, every month you could have a potential issue with your Excel spreadsheet, with your macros, with your systems who are outdated, and so on and so on. So you need to make that balance between, okay, I need Copilot. Do I really change this to the monthly enterprise channel, and so on and so on? I've been dealing with that kind of questions a lot of time. Just bear in mind that's also one of the prerequisites in order to have that, as well as the license for each user. Without license, you won't be able to use Copilot. Some apps, OneDrive, Outlook, Loop, and Whiteboard. Those are the 4 prerequisites you need to have in order to use Copilot today in Office 365. Now, the most important one, the preparing for Copilot, and that's what about we're going to talk today. It's how do you prepare today for Copilot? Well, the most important one, and this is what Microsoft is telling us, well, use SharePoint Premium SAM. The SAM means SharePoint Advanced Management. Within SAM, well, you will have data access governance reports, which we call them the DAG reports. Within DAG reports, well, you can ask a lot of questions, well, mainly 3 reports, where you can actually see how your tenant is doing. And with that report, well, you can connect to Microsoft Graph Data Connect for SharePoint, and then get a lot of information from there and connect to Power BI and visualize those. SharePoint Premium is quite simple. It's just generating some reports. We're going to see that. The SharePoint Premium, the Microsoft Graph Data Connect for SharePoint, and connecting it to Power BI is a bit more complex, but still, you can do that. And then what Microsoft also tells you, hey, well, yes, we can do that, but you also have third-party tools such as Quiz Audit, which is going to help you in getting results from your tenant about the health of your environment. About Quiz here, what can it do? And I'm going to show you straight in the demo. Although I'm a big fan of SharePoint Advanced Management, I think Quiz Audit has one or multiple advantages compared to SAM. The first thing is it is straightforward, accessible through Teams. Phenomenal solution, phenomenal idea. Why? Because SAM, SharePoint Advanced Management, is only accessible today through the admin center. So only admins can go and generate reports, which in some cases is A bad idea. Why should I, as the head of finance or any C-level, go open a ticket in order to get reports about guest users or my storage? I could be the storage owner in my organization and I need to get a report about that. Well, now I have to go within SAM, go to the SharePoint admin and ask the questions. With Quiz Audit, well, it is from the Teams client and you can ask any question you'd have from there. All reports are easily exportable to Excel. And the last advantage, I'm gonna leave it at the end because I think that's about the special announcement. So just wait a couple of more minutes and you'll see how wonderful that tool is. Now, a lot of said about the slides. Let me just now stop about the slides and go for the demo environment. Here is my screen. I hope everyone can still see my screen and it's not too small because resolution can sometimes be a back problem. Now, when you have installed Copilot, well, you have all the licenses and respected all the prerequisites for Copilot, well, you will see within your Word, Excel, PowerPoint, you always will have that little icon here or this one just here. I could ask any question to my Copilot and get responses from the large language model. I could say, how can Quiz Audit help me out with Copilot? Ask a question and then click on generate. Now I have my prompt. It goes to the pre-processing, the post-processing, and all the large language model responses go back and forward, and now I get the response. Without doing any research, I now have a document about how Quiz Audit can help me with Copilot. I have an introduction with Quiz, enhanced data analysis, improved compliance, streamlined workflows, and a conclusion. If I'm happy with that, with Copilot, I can easily say, hey, keep this, and boom, in a couple of seconds, I have created a document which helps me understanding what Quiz Audit can do. If I don't like this, as an example, the introduction can be too straight, too direct, you can always ask to Copilot to write this by making changes. And then you can say, make this longer, click on generate. What's going to now happen is Copilot will analyze your text and make it longer. Now you can see I have two more paragraphs, and hopefully it has made it funnier. Right? And now you can see it here. If you like it, you can always keep it like that, or you can just basically ask for regenerate that piece of text for you, and then Copilot will do that for you. So very easy. You can do that. Create documents, and you'll see all documents will be created for you. Now, what I'm going to do is very easy. I'm going to save this, and I'm going to save this into, and let's go for, into my OneDrive. I'm going to call it Quiz Audit. Save. Now my document is saved into my OneDrive. I'm opening my OneDrive here, and that should come just here. And you'll see under my files, I have a brandly new created Quiz Audit file. What I'm going to now do is I'm going to click on the three dots and then just here say copy link. And now that link is copied, and I'll go for PowerPoint. Just to show you what Copilot really can do is I can just click on new and go for a blank presentation, and again just come here and say create a presentation about or from file. Let's go for file, and I'm going to say just paste the link of that document that Copilot brand new created for me. If I click on send, create a presentation from, and I'm giving the link of that brand new created document for me, it will analyze the document. As you can see on the right side, it already found the chapters. Remember the introduction, the data analysis, the real-time monitoring, and so on. And now you can see on the bottom side, it's working to bring that to life. And now you'll see, wow, I have a brand new, complete PowerPoint presentation with almost zero efforts. And you can see I have this, the agenda, all that with phenomenal pictures, and even some jokes. Copilot as a data detective, right? Because we all are scared about who can access our data, because you can ask any kind of data to Copilot, and it created a presentation from you from that brand new document you did a couple of seconds ago. That's all the power of Copilot, generating stuff for you, doing stuff for you. But you can also, from office.com, on the left side under Copilot, ask a bunch of questions. And here, well, you can see it already does preload a few prompts to me, like, can I get the next meeting I have with Sarah, stay informed with Sarah, find the right questions, maximize your time and so on for your work as well as for the web. That's what I call the cross-web experience. Now, let's go for this one. I'm not sure if I have any meeting with Sarah, so let's ask to Copilot to see if I have any question. And it says, it looks like you don't have any upcoming. So let's ask and see the following. How many files I shared with Sarah? Let's see if Copilot is intelligent enough to see how many files did I share with him. Oh, it looks like I did share 2 files with her, which today is okay. But what would happen if Sarah and myself, we don't work anymore together? Or if instead of writing Sarah, I'm writing my CEO or Microsoft CEO or any vendor, supplier? The question really comes, does Gokan really, or can Gokan really get access to those files? Can Gokan really know what files have been shared with that supplier, with X, Y, Z, and so on? So that's really when the tricky part comes. Using Copilot is fun, but understanding the fundamentals, understanding on who can access what, can really, really be dangerous if you don't prepare your environment here for. And that's the reason why Microsoft came out with the SharePoint Advanced Management capabilities. So basically, when you enable SharePoint Advanced Management, well, you will see a brand new Advanced Management Pro capability within the SharePoint Admin Center. The SAM, unfortunately, is very expensive. I really hope there is no one from Microsoft listening now, but it is quite very expensive. It's like $3 per user per month, and it is for every single user, right? It's not only for the admin, you have to pay for the whole organization, meaning if your organization has 100 people, well, it's easily $3K per month and 36,000 per year that you have to pay Microsoft in order to use SharePoint Advanced Management, which will give you a few reports, such as the change history. You can see which admin did what kind of change, conditional access policies, OneDrive access restriction, like just allowing some groups to use OneDrive, the recent actions that SharePoint admin did, and so on and so on. The one that's really interesting for us is the data governance. And when you click on data governance, well, basically you're shifted over to the DAG, data access governance reports, where from the SharePoint perspective, well, you can identify oversharing by monitoring sites where user created new sharing links. Or you can apply and see that report for sensitivity labels applied to files or content shared with everyone except the external users. Meaning that now, if I click on it, well, here, or I'll maybe choose that one, the other one, just to show you this one. So this content is completely dynamic. It will just go and read all about my sensitivity labels, and I can just then run that report and get the result back from all the files that have been labeled as encrypted or highly confidential or public, and I can see which file is highly encrypted or not. You can go back, and with the DAG reports you can also go for the oversharing and know who shared what and if it might be still there, yes or no. But here what you can see, it's all about reports, right? I can just go here and then say, okay, I like to get the report from people in the organization links, and then click on run. And now that report will be generated by Microsoft. It can take a few hours, and that report will then be available for me in order to get insights about the health of my organization. That's good, that's bad, it's only reporting, that's okay-ish, it's quite cost effective, like it's $3 per month. But the good thing is Microsoft is heavily investing into SAM. Microsoft is doing a lot of changes, add-ons within the SharePoint Advanced Management capabilities that you could use in order to get insights about your health in your tenant. Now, if I here go to, I need to open the other browser. This one here. There we go. I have a Teams client, right? And I'm connected into the demo environment where I'm connected as Alex W. Well, I have here the audit. Remember what I told you back in the start of the webinar? One of the fantastic things that you could do with Quiz Audit is the fact that you can basically access the reports from the Teams clients. Here you can see I have my audit button within my Teams, which is just under the Teams I have here, as well as the chat or the activity. Your Teams admin can actually define to pin the audit into a policy and make sure that everyone gets the audit button, or only a specific subset of people could get the audit button within the Teams client. And then you can see you have like 4 major pillars: the guest user reports, the sharing link reports, the storage reports, as well as the orphaned object reports. When you open them, well, you'll see that those 4 pillars have multiple kind of different reports into it. Well, you can ask for the tenant-wide guest user report, you can ask for the guest user in workspace report, as well as the specific guest user report. If I go for the first one, I like to get a report and know who is as a guest here. You can just click on request, and that now will be generated for you within Quiz Audit. You can see it's processing, and if I go to my request, well, you will see that it takes some time, but very, very, very shortly I can get a report from here. We will see the reports in a couple of minutes. I'll just go and explain the other ones just now. Then you have the sharing links reports, where I can get a report about the shared links as well as the tenant-wide shared links. And I can then know, okay, why is that document being shared with that supplier? Or does that supplier still need to have access on that specific document, and so on and so on. The storage reports, I can ask for the storage. If I click here, I can ask for the storage about any specific SharePoint site, as well as Microsoft Teams. So it's not only about SharePoint, but it's definitely also about Microsoft Teams. I can ask the storage about that specific site or about that Microsoft Teams, and then get the insights about my storage reports. And finally, you have the tenant-wide orphaned reports, as well as the mailboxes report. I can definitely also get the report about orphaned mailboxes. If now I go to any of them, so let's say I'll go for this one and I'll go to the request, you can see here I have a list of all the reports I have completed with my quiz audits. If I click on any of them, just let's go for this one. You can see here on the report name, this is the tenant-wide guest users report. Those are the guests I have, which are called like this, their email address, and definitely where they belong to here, right? The URL of that on Teams, and you can see when they have been created, and so on and so on. You can definitely also export that list with Excel, and that can help you, then definitely help you in filtering, in getting insights, in analyzing the report on why you have that guest users in your environment. If I go back to my reports, just here again, just reports, requests, you can also see the orphaned mailboxes. As you can see, I have no mailboxes. The orphaned users, oh look, it looks like I have 2 orphaned users. just here. Maybe it's a good thing to remove them because who knows what they can do with Copilot and all the generative AI capabilities. Maybe it's a good thing to remove them. And here is one of the biggest add-ons that many other vendors, I think, still don't deliver today, is that you can choose that specific user to be removed. And now it will tell you, oh, look, Gokan, okay, that orphaned user is called that, and this is the email address. It will be removed from that specific workforce. And then, yes, if you do that, request, and that's going to send it, and then that user is going to be removed from that specific workspace. If I go back to my reports here, well, I can show you a bunch of them, like the shared links, and then you can see here who shared what to whom. And that's the most important report, if you ask me, to get. I can see here that from this workspace, this item was shared by this person on that date, and people can make any changes on that. So the question is here, is that still a valid shared link? Should I remove it? Should I keep it? And here it's only a test environment. I'm pretty sure within your environment, within your organization, you will have a bunch of those links that you might say, oh, maybe it's time to have an internal audit and see if that item, link, file, or person should be still into my environment. If I click now here, do I get an access denied? Just checking. There we go. I'm into that. If I go to my documents, will I find that file? It's called the scope project docx. Let me see if it's going to be easy to find into documents. General. There we go. Scope files. If I click here and go for share, and you can see that this is shared with external user Jenny, just here, as the report has been mentioning to me. So as you can see, it is shared with Jenny. So now the question could be, okay, now does Jenny still need to have access to that file? Audit, Quiz Audit is a fantastic tool, if you ask me, in order to get reports from your users, from your links, from your storage, as well as from your orphaned objects, in order to maintain a healthy M365 environment. The main advantage compared to SAM is that you have actionable items straightforward from Quiz Audit. Here I can select any object from my report and then ask for remove, as I showed you a couple of seconds ago. Now, we know that this is available from the Teams client. As you know, if I go here and search for SharePoint Advanced Management or even SAM, that will not be possible for you to find. Yet one thing, and honestly, it's like I'm repeating myself, but this is very important to note down, that audit is accessible through the Teams client. I'm just checking the time. We still have like 2-3 more minutes, and I like to just finish the Copilot experience with Quiz. This is also something that I really love to share with everyone, is you need to understand how Copilot is working. And here is like a few prompts that you should definitely try home, try in the office, to understand the fundamentals of Copilot. Microsoft helps you with the Copilot Lab, which is like aka.ms/Copilot Lab, where you can definitely go and get some insights about prompts. And those are the top 10s that I really love showing to customers, showing at conferences that people might use. And I think, I'm just checking for Peter or Sarah, did I forgot something to show about the Quiz Audit? Did I miss something? Nope.
I think that was great, Gokan. Okay. Thank you.
Then I'll just here go for the special announcement. May I, Sarah, are you ready?
Absolutely. I just wanted to say, Gokan, that, it's always very impressive. Thanks for making this session so engaging and informative. And, I have always found creating PowerPoint presentations to be quite time consuming, but after this session I learned how Copilot can generate them for me in just seconds. Thank you. That's a game changer for me.
No worries, no worries. Always glad to help. And as I said, the slides will be available. I'm going to send it to you. So anyone within the quiz family which is interested in getting those slides, well, they're all welcome to grab them, to use them, to go to their customers, to go to their local IT, internal IT, and get them and use them. So that's all for the family.
Thank you. So now, yes, let's take a look at the pricing of the audit app. So the pricing is determined by the number of users in your Microsoft 365 environment and operates on an annual subscription model. So let's say if you have less than 250 users, then the cost would be $1,750. And if the number exceeds 250 users, you will pay the base $1,750 plus the cost of 1.5 per user. So we have an example here of, let's say we have 500 users, so it will be 1,750 plus 500 times 1.5, which is 2,500. But today, we have this special announcement, special offer just for our webinars attendees. You get 15% discount, which will be valid until December the 10th. It's a time-sensitive offer. And I wanted to mention also that this is one of our recently released products. We released the audit app last year. So every few weeks, new features are being added to the product. We already have actually a good number of clients using the app in various parts of the world. Again, just to mention, this is the pricing you see is per year. So it's an annual subscription.
And if we compare it to SharePoint Advanced Management, which is like $3 per user per month, and if we take the 500 users, it's like 15 grand per month. And on a yearly basis, it's I need a calculator to do that. It's like crazy prices. Like this is very, very good price.
So if you're interested to learn about the product, maybe get a free trial, please send me an email. You see my email displayed on the screen. It's sarah@quizcom.com. I'll be happy to meet with you, maybe demonstrate even the product. And of course, if you would like to purchase it, I would highly recommend you take advantage of this special offer.